Hello students, in today's lecture video we shall discuss about damp-proof course and different methods of damp-proofing. So first we must know what is dampness. The presence of hygroscopic or gravitational moisture leads to dampness. And dampness reduces the strength and it leads to unhygienic conditions. Damp prevention is therefore one of the important factors for building design. The different causes of dampness. Moisture rising up the walls from ground is a major cause of dampness. And the other factors causing dampness are rain travel from wall tops, rain beating against the external wall, poor drainage at the building site, and defective construction. What are the effects of dampness? So dampness leads to breeding of mosquitoes, and moisture cause unsightly patches, softening of plaster, and this may cause efflorescence, and it may also cause disintegration of stones and bricks. Dampness cause rusting and corrosion of metal fittings. Floor coverings are damaged because of dampness. So what are the precautions we can take for dampness? The very first one is the site should be located on a high ground and well-drained soil to safeguard against foundation dampness. It should be ensured that the water level is at least 3 meters below the surface of ground or lowest point even in the wet season. For better drainage, the ground surface surrounding the building should also slope away. All the exposed walls should be of sufficient to safeguard against rain penetration. If walls are of bricks, they should be at least 30 cm thickness. Bricks of superior quality which are free from defects such as cracks, flaws, lump of limestones should be used. They should not absorb water more than 1/8 of their own weight when soaked in water for 24 hours. Good quality cement mortar should be used to produce a definite pattern and perfect bond in building units throughout the construction work. This is essential to prevent the formation cavities and occurrence of differential settlement. All the exposed surfaces should be covered with waterproofing cement plaster, and hollow walls are more reliable than solid walls in preventing dampness, and hence the cavity wall construction should be adopted wherever possible. Methods of damp proofing. Use of damp proofing courses or membranes. These are the layers or membranes of water repellent materials such as bituminous felt, mastic asphalt, plastic sheets, cement concrete, mortar, metal sheets. And basically DPC is provided to prevent the water rising from the subsoil and getting into the different part of the buildings. The best location for DPC in case of buildings without basement lies at the plinth level, or in case of structure without plinth should be laid at least 15 cm above the ground. These damp-proof courses may be provided horizontally or vertically in floors and walls, etc. So here you can see the damp-proof course in cement mortar in the ratio 1:4 is provided here at the plinth level. Here you can see the ground level, and this is the floor finish. Here you can see again the damp-proof course. In this slide you can see the mastic asphalt is being applied. The next one is waterproof surface treatment. The surface treatment consists in filling of the pores of the material exposed to moisture by providing a thin film of water repellent material over the surface. These surface treatments can be either external or internal. Painting, distempering are given to the exposed surfaces and also to the internal surfaces. Most commonly used treatments to protect the walls against dampness is lime cement plaster of mixed proportions. A thin film of waterproofing materials generally employed as waterproofing agent in surface treatments are sodium or potassium silicates, aluminum or zinc sulfates. Integral damp proofing treatment. The integral treatment consists adding certain compounds to the concrete or mortar during the process of mixing, which when used in construction act as barriers to moisture penetration under different principles. Compounds like chalk, talc, fuller's earth, etc. have mechanical action principle, that is, they fill the pores present in the concrete or mortar and make them denser and waterproof. The compounds like alkaline, silicates, aluminum sulfates, calcium chlorides, etc. work on chemical action principle. That is, they react chemically and fill in the pores to act as water resistant. Similarly, some compounds like soaps, petroleum oils, fatty acid compounds such as stearates of calcium also work on the chemical action principle. Construction of cavity walls. A cavity wall consists of two parallel walls or leaves or skins of masonry separated by a continuous airspace or cavity. They consist of three parts: out wall or the outer wall, and this exterior wall is 10 centimeter thick. Then the next part is the cavity or airspace, and this thickness of the airspace is 5 centimeter to 8 centimeter. And then the third part is the inner wall or leaf, which is having a minimum 10 centimeter thickness. The two leaves forming a cavity in between may be of equal thickness or it may not be of equal thickness. The provision of continuous cavity in the wall efficiently prevents the transmission of dampness from outer to inner wall. Under climatic conditions of India, cavity type construction is most desirable as it offers many advantages such as better living and comfort conditions, economic construction and preservation of buildings against dampness. As there is no contact between outer and inner walls of a cavity wall except at wall ties, which are of impervious material, so possibility of moisture penetration is reduced to a minimum. It has been verified a cavity wall of 10 cm thick internal and external walls with 5 cm cavity space in between is better or more reliable than solid walls of 20 cm thickness with respect to damp prevention. The cavity wall offers good insulation against sound. It reduces the nuisance of efflorescence. It offers other advantages like economy and better comfort. So here you can see the picture showing cavity wall. Here you can see the empty space in between the inner wall and outer wall. This is the outer leaf of brickwork and this is the inner leaf of brickwork. Short concrete or gunting. This consists in forming an impervious layer of rich cement mortar for waterproofing over the exposed concrete surface for resisting water pressure. Gunite is a mixture of cement and sand. The usual proportion is being 1:3 or 1:4. A machine known as cement gun having a nozzle for spraying the mixture and a drum of compressed air for forcing the mixture under desired pressure. is used. Any surface which is to be treated is first thoroughly cleaned of any dirt, grease or loose particles and then fully wetted. The mix of cement and sand is then shot under a pressure of 2 to 3 kg per square centimeter by holding the nozzle of cement gun at a distance of 75 to 99 centimeter from wall surface. The impervious surface should be watered for about 10 days. Here you can see the soft concrete work being done. Pressure grouts or cementation. Cementation is the process of forcing the cement grout under pressure into cracks, voids, and fitters present in structural components. All the components of a structure in general and foundation which are liable to moisture penetration are consolidated and so made water resistant by this process. Material used for DPC. First one is hot bitumen. This is highly flexible material which can be applied with a minimum thickness of 3 mm and it is placed on the bedding of concrete or mortar while in hot condition. Mastic asphalt. Mastic asphalt is semi-rigid material which is quite durable and completely impervious. It is obtained by heating asphalt with sand and mineral pellets. However, it should be laid very carefully by experienced person. Bituminous felts. This is very flexible material which is available in rolls of various wall thickness. It is laid on a level flat layer of cement mortar. An overlap of 10 cm is provided at joints and full width overlap is provided at angles, junctions and crossings. Metal sheets. Sheets of lead, copper, aluminium can be used as DPC. Lead sheets are quite flexible and thickness should be such that its weight is not less than 20 kg per square meter. They are laid similar as bituminous felts. Copper sheets are of 3 mm thick and embedded in lime or cement mortar. It has high durability, resistance to dampness and sliding, etc. Aluminium sheets are used with protective layer of bitumen and not as good as other two. Combination of sheets and bituminous felts. Lead foil sandwiched between asphaltic or bituminous felts can effectively used as DPC and this combination is known as lead core. Special bricks having water absorption not less than 4.5% of their weight may be used as DPC in locations where dampness is not excessive. Dense and sound stones such as granite, crab, slates, etc. are laid in cement mortar in two courses to form effective DPC. Mortar. The cement mortar is used as bedding layer for housing other DPC materials. Cement concrete. So cement concrete in 1:2:4 or 1:1.5:3 proportion is generally provided at plinth level to work as DPC. The thickness may vary from 4 to 15 cm. Such a layer can effectively check the water rise due to capillary action. Plastic sheets. This is a relatively new type of DPC material made up from black polythene, 0.5 to 1 mm thick in usual walling width and roll length of 30 meter. The treatment is cheaper but not permanent. DPC treatment in buildings. Treatment to foundation against gravitational water. So the foundation may receive water percolating from adjacent ground and this moisture may rise in the wall. This can be checked by providing air drains parallel to the external wall. The width of air drain may be about 20 to 30 centimeter. The outer wall of the drain is kept above the ground to check the entry of surface water. A RCC roof slab is provided. Openings with gratings are provided at regular interval for passage of air. So students, with this we have covered damp proofing. Thank you students.